It's old Santa Claus. Yeah, it's in the middle of the summer. So that's why Daddy's having a little fireball. Nothing wrong with it. That's right, Santa Claus is a little drunk. So what? So what? Broadcasting from Boscoyo Podcast Studios.
Welcome to another episode of the Professional Triers, which I am super excited about. We have probably the most famous voice in Christmas because I know I've listened to it for hours and hours trying to figure out what I'm doing with Pixels. And we have a co-host, again, because Vinny is busy with commercial lights. We have Carl here with us. How you doing, Carl?
I'm good. How are you, JR?
I'm doing pretty good.
And
I'm really excited about our most famous guest we've ever had on the show.
Absolutely.
Even more famous than David Peace, because I think more people in lighting know who Jeff is because they all watch his videos on how to do stuff.
I think I've seen every single video Jeff's done from the beginning.
I have too. And some multiple back it up and how did you do that? Okay, wait, I got to do it right here. So welcome, Jeff.
I'm glad they're helpful. That's what I'm in them for.
Your
get
videos
everybody,
are awesome.
Kind of get everybody up to speed quickly.
I think some people watch it just to look at your shop and just in amazement.
Well, yeah, this is nice. My wife got this for me, so I spend a lot of time out here.
Yeah,
very clean always.
It is. I've
always noticed that. Wow.
That's movie magic there.
That's for the video.
Is it a green screen? Because mine is.
No.
Green screen.
I've often thought about using one, but no, it's just, I've got this corner looks pretty good right here, and that's about it. So there's junk all over the place in here.
Nice.
Yeah. Cool.
So I guess let's learn a little bit about Jeff, because I don't think any of your videos have ever been like, hey, this is me. It's more of like, hey, learn how to do this. So let's tell us a little about yourself, Jeff.
I know. I mean, you have to watch every video to pretty, put the picture together. But Jeff Lacey, I live in Austin, Texas, with my wife, Kathy, and 3 dogs. We have no children. I have the oldest is a mix. We call her a Jack Russell pit bull mix because she's like 50 pounds, but she kind of looks like a Jack Russell, and she's not fat. So I think she's mixed with pit bull. We have a yellow lab and then a little Dalmatian. So that's our little family here. I work downtown Austin as a iOS programmer. I write programs for iPads and iPhones, and
Cool.
Been doing that for about 10 years. So. And then I started making videos.
Very nice. So you have no kids that could help you with your display.
Right.
Does your wife help you with the display?
Not at all. No. She will view them and say, you need to do something over there. And that's about her input. It's not, it's all me.
But the dogs help you, though. We've seen the dogs, so the dogs help.
They are. In fact, I have one here laying down in the floor. She kind of my shadow, but yeah, they do like to make appearances in some of the videos.
Yeah, they get in there a lot. I know. Yep. I've watched every single one of your videos.
Well, people keep asking for it. They say, hey, where's the dogs in the videos? So, all right, I'll put one in. Or if I'm working out in the backyard on something, a prop or something, they usually make an appearance. All 3 of them will usually chime in at some point. They're like, hey, what are you doing? They're really curious. And then I have to edit out the bad parts. So.
So, Carl, how many props do you have that you made from his videos?
Right now, I know the biggest one is working on the panel, the Tuntu sign. That was probably one of the best ones that you did. That was a really good build.
Well,
I made that one too.
I stole that from somebody else. I saw a picture, and somebody had it was from the forums, and they had several pictures that they did and little write-up about it. And so I was like, well, I'll make one of those. So I did, and then just filmed it.
But the way you did it was so cool. I mean, it was just real easy to follow. So I said, I got to do that. I got to build that.
Yeah, I literally watched your videos in like half speed and worked on making the stuff basically exactly how you did.
And did it come out exactly the way he did?
No, he did better job.
See, it's all in the technique.
The only problem I have with that thing is the screws get corroded because I haven't figured out how to seal the top in yet. I was thinking about maybe like inner tube or something like that to keep the water out, but I don't know. We'll keep playing with it.
Yeah.
I put a stainless cap on mine.
Yeah. I have a piece of plastic over all the electronics so that if any water does drip in there, it'll just go to the sides.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I mean, sometimes simple is better, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, I have a shop to play in, so like I made your pixel sticks, but I was too lazy to go Home Depot and get the wood, so I just bent some sheet metal and then stuck the pixels to them almost exactly the same way.
Well, those pixels were, I mean, those sticks were okay, but the pixels went out. They just went bad, and I didn't realize that's what promotional meant in Ray's store. They will go bad quickly. So, lesson learned.
You get what you pay for, right?
How long do they last?
Well, you know, I should have known something was wrong because they seem to be really deaf. They needed a whole lot more data signal to get them to work properly, and it didn't even hit me until they started going out real quick. I mean, they started going out the first time I used them. In fact, I think I had to replace a pixel after running them like once or twice.
Okay.
Really?
And it didn't really hit me until now I get it.
Okay, now I feel better because like I copied your video and then I bought F amps because you said the data problem with those pixels. So I put F amps in them and then I'm like, I don't need the F amps. I don't have that same problem. I was like, okay, well, I guess they're all right.
Yeah, it's not that kind of pixel. It's just those pixels were bad.
Okay.
So
right. And I think that's what's really cool is that your videos, it's some of the build videos, but really just some of the, hey, here's this controller, right? And you go ahead and you do some of those product reviews. And I think that is also good for the people that watch your videos, right?
Well, you know, that really just started because when I saw the F-16 V3, that's really kind of when it started.
Yeah.
That thing came out and you know, I loved David's controllers anyway, but I'm really kind of a geek when it comes to people using FPGAs because I know what they are and haven't programmed one, but it's just like, you know, this board is really technologically advanced and I really like it. But, you know, the thing is just packed with features. So I had sent an email, this is before I even really knew David, and I sent him an email and I said, hey, would you mind if I did a video on one? And this is really before anybody was watching the channel very much. And he goes, yeah, you know, whatever, nobody's making a video. And so I put it out there and of course, you know, he loved it. And the video was probably one of the most watched videos I had until it got knocked off by the Raspberry Pi SSD drive. And so now it's my #1 video all the time. It's weird.
Cool. So speaking of video, how many videos do you think you've done now? Do you know what the count is up to?
I think it's close to 100 because I've got more videos than are released. Because if I do a video and I screw something up, instead of deleting it, I just make it private and then I'll put another one out there to correct it like I did recently. And so it's showing me over 100, but it's probably in the 90 to 100 range right now.
So I think we need a bloopers reel. We need to do the bloopers reel.
Yeah, one whole show of bloopers.
You probably have enough coverage, right?
I do have a few of those in there. Some of them are staged, like the light breaking one at the end of all the videos. That one, I didn't really break one.
So, Carl, do you want to head up the speed round?
Sure. So, I mean, basically, how many lights? What do you have in your display? How many lights do you think you have today versus when you started?
I don't have that many. I think last year I had about a little over 4,000, 4,500, something like that. And this year I'm adding probably a couple of thousand just because of I'm adding 2 matrices, but I am pulling some out. So it's going to be roughly a couple thousand added this year. So maybe about 6,000 or 6,500, something like that.
All
You can do a whole
pixels?
lot with pixels. Yeah, they're all pixels. You can do a whole lot with pixels with a small number of pixels. I think when I started, I probably had, I don't know, 1,000 or 1,500, something like that.
No. And in all those pixels, about how many props do you think you've built?
Well, the first props that I built were the arches that Matt Johnson showed. Everybody has to build Matt's arches. And then I got that. I think the other big one was the wreath, the big wreath that I have, and that's probably my favorite one because it's symmetrical. There's 4 rings of 72 pixels or 288 pixels, and you can make some really nice patterns because even though the rings are spread out, there's an exact number of pixels in each ring, so you can do some really neat things with that. I've got another wreath that's got a different number of pixels in each ring, and it's the strip pixel and inside PEX tubing, and it looks fine, but it's just not like the big wreath. And then I got a mega tree, and then I've got a few other things, but that's really about it. Like last year, I added the candy canes, and the sticks, which are going to be replaced with just a big matrix now. So I don't know what I'm going to do with the wall washer yet. That's probably
the wall washer was cool. Yeah. That was another cool build. I like the wall washer. What about controllers? What type of controllers are you using?
So last year I went with the F48. I was using a F16 V3 prior to that, and it was really more centralized. And when I used the F48 last year, I was like, well, this is kind of cool. You can set up 4 props, make sure they're working, and then move on to the next thing. And it seemed like even though I was changing everything because I was moving over to the F48, it was very easy to set things up with that one. And then of course, with the F48, you can put 4 ports anywhere you want to.
Mm-hmm. Way cool.
So that's pretty cool. And then I've got I think an F16 V2 in the garage that will run that side of the house.
Nice.
Very cool.
That's cool.
That was a pretty good speed round.
Was that fast enough?
Yeah.
No,
that was good.
It was. I don't know if you listened to the podcast much or seen the YouTube show. But
I've seen a couple.
We had Sean do a speed round.
Yes, 20 minutes later. No, it was cool though. It was cool.
So I guess now we got to get into the what Vinny likes to call like the real like interview questions, which I still think it's all the same.
It is all the same.
These are like the official like interview questions.
Okay.
So Jeff, what really got you started into playing with the pixels and lighting like this?
The video by Carson Williams. That was like, that's kind of cool. And then I figured out that he was just using LOR controllers and AC lights, and I was like, well, I could do that. So I ended up, got a 16-channel board and made me a tree, and there it was. That's what started it. And then I ran that. And that's also when LED streams started. Kind of, they were at least affordable now. It was still AC lights, but they were LEDs. So that was all LEDs. Yep. Mostly LEDs. I did have a lot of in cans, but like in the bushes and stuff. But started running that, and then probably ran that for I don't know 2 or 3 years, and then that was about the time. Then I got laid off from my job, so I was like, oh man. So that for about 5 years I was wandering the desert and and each year I'd lose a string here and there, and it finally got to the point where I'm like, okay, I can't run that tree anymore. I just don't have enough light. And then I got the job that I have now, and like, all right, what's the current technology? And found Matt Johnson's videos, and really that was about it. That was all that was out there. I mean, there were people that had some pixel videos here and there talking about real specific things, but there wasn't really anybody that had an overview. And so I was looking through the forums, and I don't even know if we had Facebook groups at that time, but I was going through all the forums and going, okay, well, what do I need to do something? And that was really kind of what got me started. And then I think I got some 682 controllers from Sand Devices, and that was pretty much what I did the first year. All the strings were 50 pixels because I didn't want to go over the 5 amp limit and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I started learning more about it after being in the hobby, and I was like, oh, I didn't have to do that. So year or two, I was rejoining strings and starting to do power injection and stuff like that. And it's, that's really kind of how it's been every year. I learn something new and I go, oh, wow, that's kind of stupid. Okay, so now I can do it this way.
And it's good that we can at least learn from your mistakes, right? And watch those, and you said something. So you actually started by seeing Carson's work, and I think there's actually 3 folks in this hobby. It's either Carson, Richard Holman, or Matt Johnson. I think it's the 3 that you typically hear of.
Yeah,
I was a Tom Bet George.
Oh, you were a Tom Bet George. So,
and that's the thing too. So when that was also kind of when YouTube was first starting out, and so whenever he posted his video, Carson Williams, it really kind of took off because it was YouTube, and everybody was watching every video on YouTube, and B, it was unique to Christmas lighting. And even though there was, then you find out, well, Planet Christmas has existed since I don't know when, and people were doing all this kind of stuff. I was like, oh, okay, well, this has been around for a while. I just didn't know it, and that was kind of that. And then as technology progressed and lights changed, we've moved now into pixels and computerized lighting and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I've been doing lights for 10 years, but I was static for 8. And then I saw Tom Bet and George display, and I'm like, I could add that.
I can do that, that's
yeah.
And then I found you, and I'm like, oh, now I could easily add it.
You can do it. Yeah, I started.
Now I know what I'm doing.
We always did a static display, and then we saw Richard Holman, the arches, and that's what got us going. And my wife said, "That's what we want. I want you to build that for me." And that's how I got into the animated display was the arches.
It was so funny. Before I don't even remember what I was watching, but it was before I got into pixels, and I heard somebody talking about, I guess they were pixels. He was going, yeah, I can control the brightness and the color of each individual bulb, and I was like, what? And I was like, how would you even do that? Because I was used to the the little drag and drop, okay, on off thing, the editor and the LOR editor, and I was like, how would you even do that? And then now I know.
So if you were to start today, what would you do differently? Would there be anything that you would do differently than when you first started out?
Hopefully I'd make fewer mistakes. But no, I mean, really, I have, other than maybe the wall washer, but no. It's really, I kind of view my display as an experiment anyway. There's really no theme to it, and it's still, in my neighborhood, it's still unique enough to where, the lights are enough. The synchronization to music is enough. If I had a neighbor that was also running pixels, then it might kick the competition up a little bit. But there's not, none of my I live on a corner house, and so none of my neighbors decorate. And I have a lady that lives across, catty corner from me, and she has this huge bush that's right on the corner. It's like 30 by 30, 30 foot round. And I was like, I need to see if I can decorate that. And so, so I asked her, I guess it was earlier before Expo. I said, would you mind if I put some lights up, and she goes, no, that's okay. So that's my secret new prop this year is I'm going to stack two big matrices up against that big bush and just have a remote prop. So we'll see how
Nice.
that works.
Nice.
And
Very
then,
cool.
then I'm hoping my neighbors will see that and get jealous and want me to do their yard. So then we'll have all four houses.
You just do everybody's.
Yeah.
That's how you keep the videos going. More props. Oh, like this is for my neighbor across the street.
This is my neighbors. Yep. All synchronized. The whole block.
Exactly.
Did you?
Well,
I mean,
I like to keep it kind of so I don't call the news to come out and take a look at it, and I don't think I'm worthy enough to be on Light Fight, and I kind of don't want to just because I've seen what happens when people are on there and win. They end up usually having to turn their display off and go somewhere else after that, and I don't want my neighbors to get really mad at me because traffic is running through the neighborhood. So I'm pretty quiet about the display. People will come and stop and sit there for an hour, and that's fine because it's one car. But if we had to bring in police to direct traffic, I think it'd be quite a different story.
that's cool.
So, besides telling everybody to watch all your videos, what is the best piece of advice you could give to somebody brand new into the hobby?
Brand new. So not all of them. I have a beginner playlist that I've curated a specific set of videos to get you up to speed quickly, and then I tell everybody to go to the Zoom room on X-Lights. Those two things will get you up to speed the fastest. And if you're like a course type person, I have a course that I created that's basically my whole YouTube channel down to kind of like it's an online course. It's a more kind of structured way of learning the material, and there's not as many jokes. That's pretty much it. So if you've seen the videos, you don't need the course, but if you learn better that way, that's available too. Or if you need to learn it in a couple of hours and then go shopping for stuff, then you can do that. That's kind of what that was designed to do. It's November. I want to do this. How do I get up to speed quickly? That's kind of what that's for.
Yep.
I should probably watch that again.
Which one? It's November and we need to go ahead and get started?
Yeah.
I think some of us are already in that. No, that's good, right? So when you did the videos, did you ever think your videos were going to get that much attention? Or do you think it was just going to be, I'll help a couple people and
not really. I was just like obviously if you try to take YouTube as a kind of a serious thing, there's the craft or the whatever behind it, and you want to do as the best videos that you can. You would also love to have millions of subscribers. Everybody wants that, but it's like, okay, well, I'm probably not going to get that, but maybe 2 or 3 people will like it, and that was really all it was. It was kind of like, okay, I want to put some of this information out there. A lot of the times it's for me. I have gone back and looked at my videos because there was some information that I know I talked about and made a video of it and have forgotten, the steps to go through something like, the maybe something about Falcon player setups or some of the non-Christmas related videos for like setting up an SSD drive or on a Raspberry Pi or even one of the programming videos that I did. I probably watched a couple of times because I had to do that exact same thing for somebody else. So a lot of the times the videos are for me, but I have a lot of fun making them, like all the little skits that I'll do in the beginning. Sometimes those will just come to me. Sometimes it's really difficult to come up with something. Usually the stupider ones are the ones that I've had to really think about. The better ones, I think, are just going to come to me and go, well, that would be funny if I did that.
They're all pretty
like
funny.
They are.
They're all pretty funny.
Some come easier than others. It's just part of it, I guess. But no, so what I did was I made a video, and I started looking at the forums, I think it was, and just started seeing questions being asked over and over again. It was kind of the same question. And so I made a video about that. And I said, here's a video, see if that helps, whatever you're doing. And the thing is, people come into this hobby with starting at different places. So, you may be really good at computers, or you may be really good at electronics, but not computers. You may not understand networking, all that stuff. And so a lot of that stuff was pretty easy for me because I already had that background. I just needed to know, okay, what are the moving parts here? What do I need to put together? So I really didn't have a problem with that. But the questions that I would see coming up over and over again was like, well, I don't understand, why do you need a Raspberry Pi for this, or, that. And so I was like, okay, well, I could probably make a video about that, kind of explain what we're, kind of gave the big picture of everything, and then start getting down to the nitty gritty. And that was really kind of how it started. And as more people came on, everybody in the comments has been great. I try to get to all the comments that come in on the videos. I've had really good suggestions. I've had, hey, you screwed this up. Okay, so I could, fix it and repost the video. So it's been kind of, A to Z, and it's been a lot of fun. Everybody's been great. So that's why I keep doing it.
Yeah, like when we started the podcast, the amount of people that listened, I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. I was like, the first one, I was like, I wanted like 10 people, probably my family and Vinny's family, but there was 200 people, and I was like, whoa. And that kind of blew me away. And like the podcast, we started that because when I went to Trans World and met more people like me, it changed everything. Like
there's no one else like you, JR.
Well, no, but like people in the lights, it made it feel better that I wasn't so weird, because I didn't know anybody else really.
That's interesting.
That was into the lights, So when we went to Trans World, I was like, I got to know these people, and like everybody's kind of the same, but the podcast was kind of like, all right, let's introduce everybody to everybody, so everybody feels more like I'm not the only one being this crazy.
And I think, were you the celebrity?
No.
You didn't have celebrity status there?
No.
People didn't recognize you?
Yeah, a couple people did.
Yeah.
I was more surprised when I didn't go to Expo and somebody dressed up as me, and then people were sending me photos. That right there was probably one of my coolest moments ever. I was like,
JR.
I was like, wow, somebody literally dressed up as me. And then people were taking pictures with it. I was like, I kind of feel cool. Yeah, Trans World, I don't think enough people knew who I was.
I went to Expo last year in Mesquite, and I can tell you that it was much different this year in Daytona. The partying seemed to be a lot more. The whole atmosphere just seemed to be totally different, much better this year, and we literally had a blast. It was a whole lot of fun. Not just the chair racing, but the other stuff was good too.
Yeah, that was pretty epic. The chair racing was.
And I think that's another reason with this hobby. It's that, it started out with the minis, the small groups, and now it's growing into more of these larger venues where more people are getting together. And I think that's where, the hobby really takes off. So things like the podcast and your videos, I think that there's a lot of value there, and that's what brings people into it, because they see those things and they want to do it.
Well, and I think we're even, I kind of look at what I do as a little bit of kind of pixel evangelism, so I have done, like, for the first 6 months of this year, I built a power wall and kind of documented that. It had nothing to do with lighting. And there was two main drivers behind that. One was I wanted to build it, and I knew it was going to take a while. And so instead of just not having a video, I went ahead and documented it. The other reason was, there might be some people that do this that also like lighting and might be able to bring them in the hobby, and this would be, a good introduction to them. And I know of at least one person that was at Expo this year that came in through my Powerwall videos. So I'm just hoping that more people see it. They'll see that it's yes, it can be a little daunting if you don't have experience in all the different areas, but usually we can overcome that, and you can do it too. So we just get more people into the hobby that way, and mo better.
Yep.
So is there a I guess an area in lighting that, like, what's your weakest area, right? Is it sequencing? Is it just setting up? Is it deciding what to do?
I am no X lights savant by any means. I can make the lights blink. I can drag patterns to the timeline. If I spend a ton of time, I can get something that looks kind of cool. But I usually don't have the time, or I don't spend that kind of time on my sequences because I don't have to.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to, but the reality is with I'm full-time job, and then my wife with her medical situation, there's more time there, and it's just I don't think that I have the time to devote to spending hours and hours programming sequences. Now I'm sure you develop as you get better at doing that, you can make things that look nice that don't take near as much time, but I just haven't had the time to devote to them.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
And like I said, I don't have any competition in the neighborhood yet. So,
well,
we get that, and then it's all different.
And how long is
everything.
your display? I mean, how many sequences do you have in your display? How long do you run it?
I've got some that, so I've got one medley that I basically, I created the music on my iPad because the year before, I think it was 2015, I did the Matt Johnson thing where I just mashed a bunch of different songs together, and about 5 or 6 of them were flagged for copyright on YouTube, and I was like, "Dadgummit," So next year I'm going to create my own original music. So I went on my iPad, and it's got a little app on it, and then so I created 2 songs. And the funny thing was, when I uploaded the video that year, it got flagged, and I was like, "You've got to be kidding!" I created this custom music, and it's flagging it because somebody had posted a song that basically used the defaults from this program and are now selling the song. And
Wow.
I added drums, had more drums to it, and it was fine. But so I've got that. That's about a 10-minute song. It's basically 2 songs mashed together. And then I've got probably a total of about 14 songs that I've done. Now, some of them are a butterfly effect through the whole song. I mean, it's for kind of clearing out traffic if there was any out there.
Honey, we got 5 cars out there. Look out.
Time to clear it out. Let's put the boring one up there. One of them, my wife loves white lights, so I have one sequence that's just all the lights that are glittering. So it's things like that. So I have a couple songs that I did, the quick sequencing technique where you get, you automatically get like 3 layers of effects that X Lights picks, and you make some adjustments and that kind of thing. And then a couple of them, you spend maybe an hour or 2 with the different patterns and stuff, and get something you kind of like. And I may see something and I don't like it, and I'll change it, and that's kind of where I am now. But there's probably, I don't know, about 14 songs, and I have 2 playlists. So I got one that runs for 2 hours. That's kind of the up tempo stuff, and then the mellow playlist kicks in It's like 5:30 to 7:30, and then 7:30 to 9 or 10. I can't remember how long I go for the mellow stuff. And I did that because somebody was saying that they had, people are driving around with stereos in their cars that have more power than the ones in their house, and so they're very loud. And if they're somebody sitting out in front of your house with the radio blaring because it's a song that they like, then it's probably not going to ingratiate you with your neighbors too much. So I run kind of the mellow stuff at night, so that's probably not going to happen.
So is it safe to say that we won't be seeing a Canispater Christmas sequencing video anytime soon?
No, and the reason I don't, well, there's several reasons actually. That there's so many people that do it and do it very well. Clyde has some. I mean, you look at the video section on X-Lights, and there's several out there of people showing different techniques and stuff like that. Who am I forgetting that's in California? I know he would be very mad at me for forgetting him.
Help him out, JR. Help him out, JR.
Come on. Who's the guy in California?
Tom Bettengeorge.
No, not Tom.
Oh, that's your friend, Carl. Ron Howard.
He's the extreme sequencer, right?
Yes. That's what I'm talking about. So he's done some videos too. So with those guys doing them, that's one reason I don't do them.
We're on video, right?
Well, it's a good guy. So,
oh yeah.
So and two, there's Keith has. I was talking to Keith about this, and he has a policy that he does not want anybody charging money to teach X-Lights, and I totally understand that, and that's not really why I've stayed away. I mean, I could do a video about X-Lights, but I don't know how to do it that well. I mean, I can show you, okay, here's how I do it, and I've got a couple of videos like that, but I'm not real good at it, so that's why I don't do a video on it.
Oh.
So, out of all your videos, what video do you wish you never made?
I can't say that any of them I have not. I can't think of any of them I shouldn't have made. Now there are some that didn't go over well, and that's fine. The fence pole replacement was not a huge success, but I spent 3 days replacing the fence pole, because it rotted and fell over and didn't want the dogs to get out. So documented the process.
Yeah, I didn't fully watch that one.
That was funny though. The alternator replacement was another interesting one. It's funny. I'll put videos out there just to see what kind of comments I get. Sometimes I get questions every now and then on the alternator change out video, and it's like I can't. I guess people are still driving that vehicle around, and that video pops up. I mean, I still have mine, so it's
yeah. You might convert somebody over to using pixels.
You never know,
because they changed their alternator.
That's true. They could say, "Hey, what is this?"
Canispater auto mechanic. So that's interesting too. I mean, I remember the video where you were explaining what Canispater was. So do people ever see you go, "Oh, hi, Mr. Canispater"? Do they ever think that's your last name?
Not really. In fact, but some people they frequently screw it up. They're all that kind of cool.
That's why I haven't said it. I screw up everything.
It's like and I understand it's an odd one. It's just Latin for dog father. Or it's it's my version of dog father in Latin, I guess. I don't know that it directly translates. Although I have seen Canis Mater, which is mother, and Canispater, I guess, is dog father. So I figured I got it right. It was close enough.
It works.
It does.
It's very original. Like, it's kind of like Buscoyo.
Yeah.
You know, nobody, like, you'll get that domain probably without a problem.
That's right. It was available.
Yes. I don't know. James had a bit of a problem. He said getting the domain for his.
I saw that. I saw that episode, and he went through that. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, but
cool.
It wasn't like somebody had a business with it though. It was just somebody swooped it up and tried to sell
sitting on the domain. Yeah. I don't know if they still do that a lot though. Maybe they.
Yeah, I don't know if that's as popular as it used to be.
I haven't looked for a domain in a while, so.
Yeah. I know there's a bunch of Christmas con. That one somebody's sitting on.
And they'll probably be sitting on it for a while.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to really pay big for that one.
No.
So what's the plans for 2020 with the light show and the YouTube channel?
Well, probably pretty much more of the same. Haven't really thought that far. I'm kind of see if my jealousy experiment works on the other two neighbors, and then if it does, then that would probably be the next expansion. I don't, it's kind of like whatever happens. I'm kind of laid back as far as what I add to some. If somebody comes out with something cool, then I'll probably add it. But that doesn't really happen until July anyway. So you kind of get the juices flowing and get to Expo and start talking with everybody else. See the pictures starting to get posted and all that kind of stuff.
You got any important questions, Carl, or is it time to get to the fun stuff?
I think the fun stuff is probably appropriate at this point.
The fun stuff? All right. Hold on. I think I have the sound effect now. I got this fancy board and I still don't know how to use it.
So maybe you need to make a video, right? Let's.
Yeah, I need a video so I can watch it on how to use this
Jeff,
thing.
We're going to send you a board. You need to do a video.
All right. Here's the.
JR's got a dirty mind. Vinny is just an idiot.
Or Carl.
This is still journalism. Let's now do some rapid fire questions.
All right, my go-to. What color is your toothbrush?
It's clear, but I drilled a hole in it and put some LEDs in it so that I can turn it on and make it flat. No, I'm kidding. I think it's like white with a teal accent.
I was like, where's the video?
Where's the toothbrush video?
I do have some LEDs, so I thought I had them over here. No, I went to my cousin's son got married or something like that, and they had these little. It was foam cylinders with 3 LEDs in it, and you could have like 3 different patterns, and it was flashing there. And I was like, well, that's kind of cool. And I pulled it out, and it was basically 3 little tiny LEDs and wire about 1 foot long, and that was how it was wired up.
So did you take them all home?
Batteries. Oh yeah, I took 2 of them home.
Oh, you didn't be like, oh, somebody left it behind. Let me get it.
Oh no, I was going after them, and then they had these. These are little rings, cool. Or we were putting them on our ears. Let's see if I break it now.
It's fancy.
So yeah, there we go.
So I'm assuming your videos had an influence on this wedding?
No, I was actually curious. Where'd you get that? And then I saw them at some basically where I buy all my stuff is Costa, one of the big Party City or something like that. They had them. Oh, nice. So that's where you can get them.
So Carl, you have any rapid fire questions?
Here's one. I've got one for you. Why do they put Braille dots on the keypad of an ATM in the drive-through?
Yeah, I don't know that either. Unless they, I have seen people walk up to those, so maybe that's why. I don't know. But yeah, that'd be a good.
Okay, since we're on the car thing, If you crash a car on purpose, is it still an accident?
It's a collision. It's not an accident.
Oh, interesting.
That was a good one.
Nice. Why do they have an interstate highway in Hawaii?
Yeah, I don't know that. But I guess. I don't know.
Questions to ponder.
And it's not a sandwich.
It's no, I would never ask the sandwich one. That's
hot
all.
dog is
a
not
hot
a
dog
sandwich.
is thank you. A hot dog is not a sandwich. Thank you very much.
If you look at, there's a website, I actually looked it up. 60% or no, 53% said no, and another 3% leaned no. So I'm going with no. It's not a sandwich.
All right, I'll ask the other Vinny question. Pineapple on pizza.
That's okay. If you want to eat that, you knock yourself out. But that's the most disgusting stuff I've ever had.
That's two. You hear that, Vinny? That's two.
I'm a hamburger and jalapeno guy. So
there you go.
The hotter the jalapeno, the better. If you're crying after you eat a piece of that.
Nice.
Yeah, I can't handle that. I like it, but then I regret it after. I'm like, my mouth, I can't.
But that's the whole thing with hot stuff. You're going, I hate this stuff. It's so hot. Give me some more.
That's good. That's funny.
All right, so
come on, JR.
I know this one's probably not good because I'm kind of an Apple guy. But if you work security at Samsung, are you a guardian of the galaxy?
What? Wow.
Galaxy phone. Yeah. Well, I guess you would be. I guess you would be. I don't know now. Wow. I don't know how prestigious that is, but you want to be.
Okay, here's one. If you put a chameleon in a mirrored box, what color would it change to?
That's a good question. Would it be embarrassed and turn red, or would it be like, I'm looking good, let's try some blue, let's try some green, let's do purple?
It would be the butterfly effect. See, it might be the butterfly effect.
I guess it depends on the personality of the chameleon.
If you drop soap on the floor, is the floor clean or the soap dirty?
Depends on the soap. Is it like soft soap, or is it a bar soap?
Bar soap.
Bar soap. Well, then it would be the soap dirty. If it's soft soap, it'd be clean floor.
Why don't sheep shrink when it rains?
Or do they?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah, do we?
Maybe they do.
Like, where are they all?
All these philosophical questions. We need to make a video. Wait a minute. We are making a video.
Yeah. If Apple made a car, would it have windows?
It would have windows, but it wouldn't have any buttons. Because well, it depends. Now it might, but during Steve Jobs' day, it would have no buttons. He hated buttons.
Pretty good. But windows would have been.
I like that.
But it would be Corning windows, the real strong Gorilla Glass or whatever it's called. That's what this stuff is called. Gorilla Glass or something.
But like the wire that plugged into the car would break though.
Yes. It would be frayed right at the connector.
So are you one of these people when you're driving down the road and you're lost and you're trying to figure out where you're going, you turn down the radio?
No, I'm one of those people that uses the GPS to get to work. Just because I think it's cool.
I do that too, but that's just because I want to try to get around traffic.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, but it's like I've always got no matter where I'm going. Well, I mean, unless I'm going like to Home Depot or something. But if I'm going to be in the car more than about 10 minutes, the GPS is calculating the route. So
even if it's the same route every single day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know it's stupid, but it's just like, well, it's kind of cool. Got it.
Hey.
Might as well.
Carl, I do it to work, and I don't always go to work the same way.
But you do it. You do it to be routed around traffic.
Yeah.
I understand that. I get you.
I never used to use a GPS, and then my wife always had it on, and I'm like, why do you need that? You know where you're going every day. You go the same way every day. And now I have it on every day going to work, same way, and I have the GPS on. It's terrible.
Well, and I like it because they usually alert you to police officers that are were there 10 minutes ago, so that's good.
All right. If Pinocchio says, now my nose will grow, does it or does it not? Like, will it grow because he's lying that it didn't grow? But then that makes it not a lie, right?
Well, it only grows if he lies.
Yeah. So if he says, now my nose will grow.
Well, what was the lie? Oh, because it will grow just because I spoke. Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know. And at what point does it become a lie?
Yeah, because if he said that and then it didn't, then it could be a lie, but then it would grow. So then it would.
Yeah. My nose is going to grow. Oh.
This is awesome. Jeff, you are the greatest guest ever.
Jeff's definitely there. So here's one. If
as fun as you are in your videos.
If ATM stands for automatic teller machine, why do we call it an ATM machine?
Because we like
there's a lot of those though.
There are.
And I can't.
It's like PIN number, personal identification number, and we call it a PIN number.
Yeah.
Why do we do that?
There were some electrical versions of that too, and I've always I don't know. There's a bunch of them. Like, we do that to a lot of things.
I'm gonna start calling RGBs RGB blues.
RGB blues. Well, speaking of electrical, so the question that gets asked: 5 volt or 12 volt?
Well, I've mostly been 12 volt. I like big volts, and I cannot lie. I had to actually explain that to somebody recently. And then, dude, it's a mix-a-lot,
Where's the sound guy when we need him, right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. We need to put that in a video.
Yeah, I have up until this year, I have run, so all my lights are 12 volt, except for I have a globe on my 2.2 sign that has 7 5-volt pixels in it because it's all 5 volt. And then this year I'm adding 2,000 pixels of 5 volts just to see how they work. And that was really just to kind of go through all the power injection to see how difficult it would be. Figured on a matrix, that's probably going to be the easiest. So we'll see what it does.
Cool.
Okay. So now it's time for the last rapid fire question of the night. It's the new one. Metric or standard?
Well, I like building things in metric. Hold on.
Oh, we're going to have a video.
Hold on. Oh, if I can get it in a timely manner. So this has inches and metric.
Oh,
that would drive Vinny crazy.
So
yeah, he wouldn't know what to do with
that. For me, when I'm building something, it's much easier to figure out the metric stuff for me. Maybe just because I'm old and can't calculate fractions anymore, but or maybe I've just never been good at fractions, and that's why all my older stuff looks messed up. Seems like when I do stuff in metric, it turns out a lot better. So yeah, I don't know. That's it. I'm a metric. I'm on board with metric.
Nice.
Well, and I think we ought to get rid of the daylight savings time stuff too. Start messing with the clocks.
Because are we really saving time or daylight for that matter?
I am I am anti-clock changing.
I never change the clock. I just let it go, and because it's going to be right again soon.
You know,
That's why you're always late to everything, Carl.
That's what it is.
Might be, half the year, maybe why.
Well,
Yeah.
I think if we remember back in the day, the VCRs, whenever that thing would flash, did you ever set the clock on the VCR? I never did. Just let it go.
I
Same
was one
thing.
of those people that did.
Oh, you did? You set the clock on
every
it?
time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Unplug it. You
And
plug it back in, and you got to set it.
Hold on. What's a VCR?
Yeah.
No, I'm playing. I had them when I was a kid, but
Betamax.
I've never had to set the clock.
Betamax.
Well, and I heard y'all talking about this. You know why VHS won?
Yes.
Somebody said marketing. I was like,
Nope.
No.
It wasn't
No.
marketing. Well,
Well,
yeah,
it was.
but-
It was
Well.
marketing in the back of the video store, maybe behind the red curtain.
That's why Blu-ray won too.
Well, what was the competing technology there, though? What
The
did it beat out?
HD.
It was the
Oh,
it was the HD there,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
HD video.
That's why phones got bigger. Remember, they were going smaller for a long time, and then all of a sudden you could see stuff on them. And they got bigger.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Let's stop it there because we're heading down a dangerous road, I think.
Yeah, we are. Thank you, Jeff, for being on the
Yeah,
show.
thank you,
This
Jeff. That was awesome.
This is so much fun. This is awesome.
Had a good time.
And make sure you go check out his YouTube channel. I'm going to let him say the name because I'm going to screw it up.
Go ahead.
Canispater Christmas. Canis is dog. Pater is father. So dog father. Canispater Christmas. I think you can do it just one word and it'll find it.
Yeah, it will. I've had to emergency search for something when I was working on something. So yes, he's got the best YouTube how-tos of anything. I don't know anybody that started out that hasn't used them.
I do tell stupid jokes, and they are all the language is clean. So if you father child teams that are going through this, I have comments from all that. So it's safe for children too. You may have to explain a couple things.
We've been trying to be more safe. We've been trying to be more safe with the podcast, but
I think we did good on this one. I think we
did good on this one. Yeah, it's a work in progress.
We'll get there.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much for being on the show. That was awesome.
Pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
Good to see you guys.
Yep.
Thanks.
Cheers.
That was great. Thank you. That was so good.
You met. It was a lot of fun.